Saints Row 4 allowed me to take a moment to muse and contemplate what life would actually be like if a person were to have superpowers, and now I have to say that I'm fearful of the concept. For example, I've been given the opportunity to be a just and stand-up citizen, lurking in the shadows with the ability to take down the wrongdoers in the name of justice. What I actually did, however, was run rampant, throwing vehicles left and right, slamming civilians off the floor and causing death by genital trauma. So any dreams that I have had of being a virtuous and upright superhero when my experimental serum works out have been completely shattered by the harsh reality that I'm one evil sadistic motherfucker. In Saints Row 4, you take on the role of the boss of the Saints and President of the United States of America, and I can tell you now, you're just as abusive, self-obsessed, and psychopathic as ever. Even in the face of alien invasion, loudmouth, cocky one-liners spew from the protagonist, as he or she and thousands of other humans are abducted by our new alien overlords, who for some unexplained reason speak perfect English and are all masculine, which begs the question of how reproduction works. Without spoilers, you wind up with the ability to plug yourself in and out of a simulated steel port as you attempt to rescue more of your crew from the bad guys and thus humanity. You have the lovable rogue of a protagonist who must gather together a band of merry men in order to stop some sort of alien invasion. There is a Judas along the way, and there may or may not be some sort of reconciliation on his path. Blah blah blah, nothing new. Where Saints Row differs is by turning the insanity up to 11 and giving you superpowers in the digital world. And we all know what this is a reference to. Deep Silver Violation know this themselves and don't try to hide the parody, throwing in a few more spoofs for good measure. The gameplay in the real world is exactly the same as Saints Row the 3rd, falling back on the good old mentality that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Though on the other hand, the introduction of superpowers is slightly experimental to the series. This allows your character to race across town, running down streets, climbing buildings and gliding across the city. You are given the abilities to throw fireballs, freeze enemies and ground pound the floor to cause some devastating shockwaves. These powers allow you to feel like a god in the program, however, when you take a step back and look at them, you realise at its bare bones, Saints Row 4 is a dirty whore, and what you're actually playing is a bastard child of Saints Row the 3rd and every other superhero game that has been brought out in recent years. Saints Row 4 is one huge parody, throwing in as many references as possible without being threatened by lawsuits, which is incredibly fun when you find small humorous levels like Saints of Rage. The problem is that by copying things like the powers and gameplay directly from other games, which aren't actually that old and have pulled off these abilities a lot better elsewhere, seems completely lazy. Another problem I have is that in the Saints Row the 3rd DLC, you see the superpowers. The coding was already there to allow you to super run and more. The characters, setting, cars, pretty much everything in the main body of the game was already coded and ready for the developers to just put together with the scotch tape of a new story. Okay, this does seem a little harsh, but I'm still in the middle of deciding whether this game was worth as much as other full price titles, or whether the wool has been pulled over thousands of eyes and we've all been scammed. The only way I can determine this is to honestly dissect these facts and come to the most logical conclusion. So have we once again had our money taken from us by evil corporate giants who want nothing more than a bigger profit margin? Or does Saints Row 4 live up to being a standalone game? Is there enough content and development involved to warrant a completely new title? Well, yes, there is, and it scrapes together just enough to pass for a standalone title. A lot of thought has gone into the game, producing a large range of character development, and we see an exploration into some of the lesser developed supporting roles. The side missions in the game do get a little boring when you're asked to drive across town, as the new mechanics render vehicles completely redundant. I don't know why a person would drive a car when they can whiz around on their feet, or even spawn a UFO at any moment to quickly get to their destination. If you enjoy games with wacky and frankly childish humour like Saints Row the 3rd, then this game is for you. Its take on sex, drugs and violence seems tailored towards insanity that other superhero and gangster games have left behind, as they've matured since the late 90s. And I'm not sure that's a good thing. Yes, it's hilarious to punch a man in the testicles and get away with it, but this quickly loses its appeal. I think the game is fun, but it has no fibre to hold it together, and doing something badly and making out that it's a parody is no escape from doing something half-arsed. If you really like the direction of Saints Row the 3rd, then go ahead and grab Saints Row 4, it is fun, but if you want more than just a shallow sandbox game, I would look elsewhere. Thanks for watching everyone. If you can, leave positive and negative comments in the section below, and hey, why not tell me what you think of anything I've said today? Share the video about on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll catch you guys soon on Immersed Gamer.